that can go from C++ programming to world sustainability? Who would capture something like that? We had to go to the wilds of YouTube, where we found someone that I was warned against bringing here, where our facilities manager has taken out additional insurance on our theater. It is my profound pleasure to welcome Dr. John Cohn as our graduation speaker today. John has been an innovator in the area of design automation for both analog and digital custom integrated circuits. He has been part of 4 different books on design automation. He's authored 30 technical papers. You'll be shocked to learn that he is an IBM Fellow in systems technology, where a position he was elected to in 2005 in recognition of his contributions to high-performance custom circuit design automation. That's not why we invited him. John is passionate about technology and the role that it has to play in sustainability, and he's passionate about the necessity of science education. And in doing that, he's taught not only at the university level at UVM, but in high schools and elementary schools as well. And I can't imagine offering any more introduction with this behind me. Please welcome John Cohn.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Madam President, and our previous speakers. I mean, that couldn't be a better introduction. I would love to start with something deep from my heart that I want to congratulate all of you. When I think about, and I don't mean that in just a perfunctory way, when I think about what Marlboro means, I mean, I know that you have made a commitment. You've had busy lives. You've decided to come back and do this important thing. Because you live in Vermont and because you've chosen Marlboro, you must believe in the earth. You must believe in sustainability. As a matter of fact, I did the best I could as I have a tie and my Birkenstocks on in honor. You have a progressive spirit. I mean, I don't mean that necessarily from a political standpoint, but you obviously must believe in the spirit of humanity, or you would not have chosen this program. And I would like to take just a couple of seconds to do a nerd salute to the only way I know how to. Can I please ask you to congratulate yourself and all of us to congratulate our new graduates with an electronic, my version of congratulations. Please, on 3, clap for yourselves. 1, 2, 3. The questions of how conductive our senior leadership of it. I was a little worried, President and Dean. But I salute your passion. And I want to know, if you haven't figured this out by now, I'm a nerd. And I would like to know how many of you are nerds. Now, you don't have to be nerds like this. You must be, how many of you are passionate about something? Because that's what I want you to grab hold of. Now, I'm passionate about many things. My family, my love of Vermont. I'm also very passionate about technology. I'm a deeply committed nerd, and I have been taking things like that into schools for about 20 years. Now, I was born, believe it or not, the year after Sputnik. And just, you know, if you plug your fingers into one of these things every once in a while, it makes you look like this. But in 1958, this little grapefruit-sized ball went over the planet, and it galvanized the entire world. And when I was ready to go to school, like every red-blooded American boy and girl, unfortunately mostly boys, we showed up and we wanted to be rocket scientists. And we showed up at college and they said, oh, sorry, rocket science is full. You be a civil engineer, you be a mathematician, and we went willingly. And it was a great ride. For 50 years, technology has advanced, and my colleagues in industry and in academia have just done wonderful things. I'm thinking the first microprocessor that I remember working on had 50,000 transistors. The one I just finished had 6 billion. You know, 120,000 times. It's 32,000 times faster. And you would think with that kind of growth that everybody would be beating the doors down still to become a geek. I mean, from the time of Sputnik till about the mid-90s, engineering and technology and computer science enrollment, I mean, gosh, when I was a kid, I don't think there was computer science. It increased by 150%. Well, then something happened, and this is where I need your help. What happened is technology, all technology careers started to decrease. In the last 2 decades, where some of the coolest stuff has happened, people have been staying away from technology careers, believe it or not, with all the news that there is on it. And it's not just a US problem, it happens in Western Europe, it happens in Asia, parts of Asia like Japan. Japan, they call it flight from science. Places like India and China, they are growing. But in countries like ours, people are not choosing that. Where are they going? Well, they're going into psychology, they're going into sociology, they're going into biology, all of those ologies, right? What's going on? What do they have that we don't? You know what they do? It turns out, what's your perception of a technical person? What do you think society's perception is? They know that we work hard. They know that we're smart, that we must be good in math and science. But until now, they haven't been thinking of us as doing good in the world. Think about it for a second. I mean, how many TV shows? You think of medical doctor shows, somebody with perfect hair, they're causing, they're relieving suffering and stuff like that. I mean, can you imagine, Silicon Valley Vice or something like that? It just doesn't happen. So, people have been joining other professions, and it really alarms me. But there has never been a time that society needed your help. People who are committed to both technology in all of its forms, I don't mean you have to be a hardcore geek, and in sustainability. Well, what we need is another Sputnik. We need something like that that's going to get the red-blooded boys and girls. Do you know that only 22% of technical people worldwide, math, science, and technology, are women? And and if you look at any swath of the population, any sort of minority, we're also getting less than our representative share. And that's not just political correctness. What that is diversity of thought. I mean, what makes best creativity is multiple perspectives. Now, it turns out, though, that you are showing up at the party at the perfect time, because we need another Sputnik, and we have one. And what is it? It's sustainability. This message is so, so pervasive. Now, I've been going into schools and scaring kids with my looks for 20 years. And generally, as much fun as we have, it's the same 22% that are up there afterwards, and unfortunately, mostly they're boys. Well, in the last couple of years, I've noticed something changing. And it's going to be your charge to help us make this connection. The message about sustainability is so pervasive. As it turns out, there was a recent worldwide study, 400,000 kids. They said 81% agreed that fixing climate, energy, sustainability was the largest problem facing the world. And they went further to say, this is kids' opinions in every country of the world, that technology was one of the solutions. I think that we've been on the problem side for a long time. They now see us. So when we go into schools, when your kids go into schools, when you have a chance to sort of witness for geekiness, you have a great opportunity to reinforce this point that technical people care, that we care deeply about the world. And it's not going to be a snow job. I'm not talking about like greenwashing. I was in a convenience store the other day and someone handed me a paper cup, disposable paper cup, and it had a windmill on it. And I was like, what? This is real. Whether you believe in Al Gore and global warming, I had dinner with him the other night, which was that was pretty interesting. He's actually really fun after a couple of bottles of wine. And you know what? It kind of goes to your point that you don't have, he admitted to us that, this was 5 other people, he admitted to us that he's not always right, but he's always passionate. And I just thought that was such a great thing. And to be passionate about something that you believe so much in is, you don't have to be certain, but just put it out there. And what you'll find is that the kids are getting it. I mean, 81%, I mean, that's more than people would agree that chocolate ice cream is good. This is the largest consensus of kids' views on anything. And compare that to belief that only 20% would want to enter a technical career. So the balance is changing, and that's where you have an opportunity and I need your help. And the world needs your help. Now, exactly what do I mean by that? Well, you know, it can take different forms. What I want you to do is do you remember I asked you before if you were passionate about what you did? And I think everybody raised their hand. So what I would really like you to do is grab that passion and try to figure out what is it that you could do to pass on that passion to, and it's not just kids that you have to pass this on to. You have to be able to pass this on to teachers. You have to pass this on to parents, neighbors, etc. So what I would encourage you to do as sort of a lifelong lesson is find that passion and feed it. Oftentimes, as you start getting busy and you go on with your life, you forget what is that thing that drew you into technology, what drew you into back to school, what drew you into this stream of sustainability. I'm a big believer that experimentation, doing what you love, is contagious. So what I would ask, I don't know if this is what you want to do, but I find that going into schools, going into civic groups, going into museums, Cub Scout groups, whatever, and talking about whatever makes you passionate. Now, I like electricity, and you don't have to have fancy equipment. This is an old laptop cord, 2 forks of which I stole out of the cafeteria, and a pickle. And with simply just doing that, let's see here. Wait for it. You can demonstrate the principles of engineering and science. Excuse me. I was told not to put pickle juice on the diplomas. Well, you don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to be good looking, obviously, to find examples. And it may be spreadsheets are your thing. You can make spreadsheets sexy. But go witness to that. Pass that passion on. Now, it may come out in your life that you can find other ways of passing that passion on. And what I was doing in 2008, I was looking for a way of spreading out my particular outreach. I work with a lot of capable people at IBM and going into schools, but I wanted to make it bigger. So I said to my wife, my beautiful wife up there, who's a very grounded person, I said, you know, how would I make this go out? And she said, honey, just put it out in the universe. So I grabbed a beer, I walked outside, and I said, universe, how should I do this? And perhaps this will come to you, but the answer came next day when I got a casting agency from Hollywood calling me and asked me if I wanted to be a mad scientist on television. And to this day, almost a year and a half later, the only thing that I've ever been able to get in a concrete reason why they chose me is because I have weird hair. So, but what that allowed me to do, a long story, I ended up on a Discovery Channel TV show called The Colony, which I hope you were too busy studying to watch. But the point is, me and 9 other volunteers, many of them with science backgrounds, got locked in a warehouse in East LA for 58 days with no food, no water, no electricity, and no security. And for the rest of that time, we had to figure out how to fend for ourselves. We had to figure out how to purify water from the LA River, which was horrible. We had to figure out ways of generating electricity, which we did using wood gasification. We had to make active charcoal water filtration. We ended up making solar trackers. And what we were doing on a very large stage, both for this country and worldwide, we were able to show how ingenuity, passion, and the right junk laying around can turn into sustainability. And as a result, excuse me, we've heard, all of us have heard from thousands and thousands of kids about engineering, choosing to go into engineering, choosing to go into computer science, bioengineering, etc. So I will tell one interesting story, since everybody's telling in interesting stories. One of the real problems, so we were pretty constrained there, and that was part of the interest. People liked watching us struggle with our situations. We were eating rats, for example. which can be quite good. I've been a vegetarian for 33 years, and that was me falling off the wagon to eat goat. But with the right spice, it was quite good. But the hardest thing, there were two hard things. The first hard thing was hygiene, and the second one was security, because we were always being attacked. The hygiene story was very interesting because it rained only 3 times when we were in LA in these 2 months. And the first time it rained, all of my diligent coworkers ran outside to catch every raindrop, because that meant less water that we had to take from the lake. I, being maybe more selfish, ran out the back door, threw my clothes off, and just stood there and watched the dirt and stink coming off of me. And I turned around, and there was $200,000 worth of HD camera looking right at me. And I said, and remember, I'm doing this because I'm passionate about outreach. So anyway, the guy said, you better pick up that plastic sheet. Well, flash forward. So we're back in Vermont, and we're trying to, waiting for the show to come out. I hadn't seen it. And the New York Times calls me, and they want to interview me. And I am so happy. My parents are going to read this. And this is the message. I wanted to talk to them about engineering careers, how they're going off, and how you need to share your passion, and try to give them the 2-minute version of what I just told you about, just passing that on. And all the guy wanted to know about was the last 45 seconds of that first show. And I said, I haven't seen it. He said, you haven't? Well, I'm there completely naked. Pixelated, but naked. But from then on, I became the old naked scientist. Now, and the funny thing is, I'm not old. I was naked, and I am a scientist. But I don't underestimate the ability to get under someone's skin with something like that. And not only did my career flourish, my career survive, my career flourished in that. So you may not really need to be going out and appearing naked on public TV. That may not be your thing. But what I would suggest is that you find some way to contribute and actually, excuse me, I'm just getting some material. Junk? It's not junk, it's innovation. It's, what I would like to suggest is that you figure out a way of passing on your passion, because it was not necessarily that moment of nudity that actually got these kids interested. It was actually showing how sustainability and engineering with constraint and how that could save the world, that is what really was important. And I believe inside of each of you, there's a story just like that. Now, the one thing I would say, that hat, I have to say, that hat has intrigued me the entire time. But one of the things that was most uncomfortable about the adventure on the colony was, here I am, a neurotic Jewish liberal Vermonter, Birkenstock wearing, Prius driving, and we had to pretend to be fighting off bad guys. But what I found made the most impact in terms of having kids ask me about science was building weapons. Non-lethal weapons, of course, but I found that if you can surprise kids, you can do anything. So, now what you do in your life, it may be quiet, it may be small, or it may be big, but if you pass on that passion, you will leave a huge footprint. And your particular passion about science and sustainability and about love of nature is just coming at the most remarkable time. And what I just want to finish with is, again, I'm so honored to be asked to be here with you, and you are entering this workplace just when this message is getting hot. Just by being yourselves, holding that passion close, keeping that flame lit, you will change the world, I have no doubt. So thank you so much. Congratulations to you all.